The promise that I made to God when I was a child is when my mother worked hard in cotton fields, helped building America. This is before they came to the technology they have now with the large implement equipment where they can cover a vast amount of land and be a breadbasket of the world. Well, my mother, every time she would work and we would pick cotton, she taught us the value of the dollar. Value of God's word stood above the dollar. But at the same time, as she was working for a wage, these white merchants would be sitting and waiting on us to deprive her out of our earnings. She worked hard to bring it in this door, but when she get home, they be sitting there waiting to encourage and talk to her to take it away from her. Little did I know this was a larger picture than it looked. But she felt as if because these merchants was predominated by the white race, she felt that she was obligated through her upbringing out of slavery and the trace of slavery that she was obligated to buy from these people because these people were working in her best interest. This is what it was. And she spent every dollar just about it because they was giving her credit for stuff that she didn't really need. And it's kept us pulling up here, trying to get out of this pitfall that they were setting for us. But we never resurfaced. Well, in done so, our mother would teach us the Bible. And we didn't just sit around there and just read every now and then, and she just got wearied through the years because of these people that she bring this money in. It was wearing her down. Well, God moved in, and one day in the winter month, as she was going out to make money, the merchants taking it away fast she make it, and she let the merchant know we'd have had food that we should have had. But she felt obligated. So when one day she went out, God made a move against her. She had a little boy, our baby brother, and left our sister babysitting the boy. She was a year younger than me. I couldn't have been no more than 12 or 13 years old at this time. Well, this sister, my mother made a great hot fire in the stove. We burned wood stove, for her to keep the baby warm. Child was pulling her up, sitting up there on the couch, and the child fell into the ash pan of coals while we was out to the cotton field. There was no way to call our mother. And the child's face burned all up and burned his hands up where he tried to get out the ash pan. And they had we came in, the daughter, my sister, which was a year younger than I was, the twin to her brother. She was sitting there, hadn't saved the child alive by covering him up and putting him under cover. My mother saw this when she came in. She said, "You gonna pay for this." My sister's name Rosetta. She said, "You gonna pay for this." Letting my child all get burned. She was carried out to the children's hospital in Little Rock. And they end up, amputating some of the fingers off one hand and some, I believe, off the other hand, and then grafting skin putting on his face. But this made the child much stronger because he worked hard and he was early graduated at Watson Chapel High School, and he didn't consider his features as a handicap, and he don't now. But anyway, he's one of the best brothers that I got. Well, let's go on from this. As my mother began to punish my sister for this here during that part, I stood at a distance and I watched her. You know, we had this here house. My mother had tried to add on to the house because she had so many children. And it was a porch out there that she tried to turn into a room. But I said, sit there and watch her sit that girl down on this chair and tie her to this chair with some like water hose or something. Made her pull off her top blouse, and she whooped that girl and whooped that girl. And I sit there and I took all I could do, but there was nothing I could do because I was a little child myself. Be older than this child she was whooping. And you know, I made God a promise that if I was become the father of children, that I would stay with my children and I would take care of them and I would shelter them and protect them from this kind of behavior. I said this when I was a child because it hurt me inside. I cried inside. And look, my mother was a victim, the child was a victim, my sister was a victim, and I was a victim because there was no sense of direction and there was no judgment to set judgment and stand as who was right and who was wrong and sit and tell the one that was imposing their will upon this child for what she failed to carry out, that these things happened. No one was there, but all I could see was a mother had lost all sense of being and taken out revenge on a child that she could kill that child through her whooping, trying to reach the satisfaction that she could. And she never reached that satisfaction, even unto the death. It was a struggle throughout the life of history of my mother and my sister. From that point, she would look up and tell my sister that you burned my child on purpose. I'm telling you this. But I made God a promise, if I be the father of children, that I would not allow this to happen to them. We struggle. We work hard in the fields of the United States of America, creating the habitat for the white man. They never knew the suffering that we had gone through and done so. But yet they was just like my mother. They imposed their will upon us as a black race of people as something worthless, even after we had poured out our heart and soul upon this land, providing for a system that would soon fail us. We worked diligently and we worked hard and we, through our blood, sweat, and tears, we laid down our life for this country. But at the end of the day, they opened the doors, praised other peoples in other nations, but we had the doors slammed in our face. They built prisons and death rows for us out of malice, building this land upon the blood of our peoples. At the end of the day, we were rejected. I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this for a reason. The year 1993, as it was about to close and the war was in Iraq, Desert Storm. As they was closing this chapter in this area, God called this prime minister to speak to me and called me. But I was making all this money. I said to them that I had made God a promise, and I'm fulfilling this promise by sending my children to have my children in college. So in doing so, I thought what I was doing was right, but I didn't know the promise that I had made to God. I didn't understand the significant fact. When you make a promise to God, God's meaning may be different from you. You have your mind on one thing, and He have His mind set on another thing. So this is how it was for me during my calling to my salvation and to the deliverance of the people of God. but I had made a promise to him. But